Hello guys, I welcome you all to my channel. I am Damayanti and today we are going to discuss about education of CWSN, its type, identification, learning needs, teaching strategies and curriculum adaptation. Now, before we are going to start the video, let's start with what is CWSN? CWSN is children with special need. So let's start with the introduction of the topic. So children with special need are children who requires additional educational support due to physical, sensory, intellectual, developmental, emotional, behavioral or learning difficulties. Inclusive education aims to provide equal learning opportunities to all children regardless of their abilities and disabilities. So, according to National Education Policy NEP 2020 and the Rights of Person with Disabilities RPWD Act 2016, every child has the right to equality education in inclusive environment. So, what is the meaning of CWSN? A child with special need is a child who experience difficulties in learning and participation in regular educational settings and therefore requires special support and accommodation or modification in learning in school. Now, let's look after objective of education for CWSN. So, first objective is to ensure children equal educational opportunity for all. Next is to promote social inclusion. Next is to develop self-confidence among the student and as well as independence. To maximize educational potential and to provide children for productive citizens. Now, next is types of CWSN. These are the types of CWSN. First is physical disabilities, visual impairment, hearing impairment, intellectual disabilities, learning disabilities, autism spectrum disorder, ADSD, multiple disabilities. Now let's discuss one by one. Physical disabilities is affect movement and physical function of the individual. For example, cerebral palsy and orthopedic impairment. Cerebral palsy is permanent movement disorders that affect muscle control, posture and balance. Orthopedic impairment is a severe physical disabilities that affects a person's bones, joints, muscles or ligaments. These are the conditions that limit mobility, coordination or functional ability enough to impact daily life or school performance. Next is visual impairment. Visual impairment is the loss of vision that affect educational performance among the student. For example, blindness and low vision. So, to use of barley or barrel or large print materials like tactile and auditory learning materials should be used. What is tactile then? Tactile is the materials used to sense the touch or things through physical contacts. Now, next is hearing impairment. Hearing impairment is the partial or complete loss of hearing. For example, deafness or hard of hearing. Its characteristics to know hearing impairment are delayed development among the student as well as communication difficulties. So there is a dependence on sign language or lip reading. Next is intellectual and learning disabilities. What is intellectual disabilities? Intellectual disabilities is the significant limitation in intellectual functioning and adaptive behavior, like slow learning pace, difficulty in problem solving, etc. And learning disabilities is a neurological disorders affecting academic skills. For example, dyslexia, which is, for example, a child is facing difficulty in reading, is dyslexia. What is dysgraphia? Dysgraphia is a child facing difficulty in writing, and dyscalculia is a difficulty in mathematics, which requires individual supports. Now next is autism and ADHD. What is ADHD? ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and autism ASD is autism spectrum disorder. So autism spectrum disorder is a developmental disorder affecting communication and social interaction among the student. And ADHD is a behavioral disorder, for example, inattention, hyperactivity, impulsiveness. So these students face difficulty in concentration, restlessness and poor organization in the classroom. Now let's come to the next topic, that is identification of CWSN. So early identification is essential for timely intervention. For example, observation, screening, diagnostic assessment, parental interviews and specialized evaluation. So teacher observe learning behavior, communication skills, social interaction and motor development among the student in the classroom. So in screening is the initial assessment conducted through checklist, rating scales, developmental records of the student, etc. And diagnostic assessment is conducted by specialists such as psychologists, special educators, speech therapists, medical professionals, etc. So they use the tools like IQ test, achievement test, hearing test, vision screening, etc. in diagnostic assessment. In parental interviews is done for the information collection of the student. For example, developmental history of the student, health condition of the student, family background of the student, learning difficulties are done. Learning needs of CWSN. By specialist evaluation, every child has unique learning requirements. For example, individual instruction, additional learning support, simplified content, remedial teaching are necessary to identify for CWSN students. Next is learning needs of CWSN. So learning needs are academic needs, communication needs, social emotional needs, physical needs and vocational needs. Academic needs are like individual instructions, additional learning supports, remedial teaching, simplified and easy content to explain the students. So next is communication needs. Communication needs are like sign language, barrel touch of the for the vision impairment. Oh God, I'm so sorry for the disturbance. So let's start from communication needs. Communication needs are sign language, barrel needs for the visual impairment of the student, alternative communication devices and visual supports. Social and emotional needs are like peer acceptance, positive classroom environment, counseling support, confidence building, etc. In physical needs like assistive devices, accessible classroom, prepare seating arrangement of the student according to their heights, impairments, those who are sitting in the front bench, etc. Vocational needs like skill development, career guidance, functional life skills, etc. Now let's come to academic communication needs. Okay, we have done this. Social emotional needs, I have explained this. Okay. Positive reinforcement and assistive technologies like praising, rewards, screen reading, audiobooks, speech to text tools, etc. Now, next is Universal Design for Learning, UDL. So, UDL provides multiple ways of representation, engagement, and expression of the teacher to express a concept to the student. This allows all the learner to access the curriculum. Next is curriculum adaptation. Curriculum adaptation refers to modification made to curriculum, teaching methods, and assessment to meet diverse learner needs. Next is content and process adaptation. Here, simplified content, visual support, and hands-on activities and flexible instructional methods are required for content adaptation. Simplified and easy content, a student should easily understand simple content of the topic. Visual supports like smart boards, projectors, etc. are used as a tool in the classroom to understand the student easily. Hands-on activities, for example, a student learns best by doing itself. So, hands-on activity is also important. Flexible instructional methods is required to easily understand the concept to the student. Next is product, environment and time adaptation. Alternative assessment, accessible classroom and extra time for tasks and exams for CWSN students. So, here the role of the teacher is to identify learning difficulties of the student, curriculum adaptation, creative inclusive environment, collaborate with parents, use assistive technology to provide educational support and encourage peer interaction and monitor progress of the student regularly in the classroom. What are the challenges and suggestions for the CWSN student? So, lack of trained teachers are needed to overcome the challenges for CWSN student. So, insufficient resources are also there. It is also facing one more challenges for educating CWSN student. Negative attitude of the student as well as some teachers also. Large classroom size also create obstacle to educate CWSN student. Limited assistive technologies in the schools, inadequate infrastructures also are creating challenges for CWSN student. To overcome this, a barrier-free infrastructure are required to overcome all these obstacles. Next is conclusion. So, education of children with special need is a fundamental component of inclusive education. Through proper identification, understanding of learning needs, suitable teaching strategies, and curriculum adaptation, CWSN student can achieve their full potential. In inclusive education promotes equality, participation, dignity of the student, and holistic development. It ensures that every child receive quality education irrespective of individual differences. So that's all for today's video. We will see you in our next video. Thank you everyone.